All right, y'all. First and foremost, let's start this off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, our Heavenly Father and Creator, Yahweh. And we do so by Shema Mashiach Yahushai. This is the Deacon Sakari. You see what it is. Yahweh is our banner, always, you know. Deacon Sakari back with the Friday Night Flux. Y'all know what time it is. Hit that like button. Let me know if my audio and visual is straight. Let me know if my audio and visual is straight as we get started live on air. Live on air. Live on air. Tucker Carlson talks black Hebrew Israelites, as he said it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this interview with Lex Friedman and Tucker Carlson, how he says live on the air, it got 14 million views. 14 million views is from a couple of months ago. Now, we in the Israelite community, we're just now hearing this. I seen the African Diaspora News Channel report on it. And then I seen Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC share a reel of it on his Instagram. So we're just now catching wind of what Tucker Carlson said live on the air. Why would you do such a thing? But see, the Most High God, he's so amazing. He's so amazing, right? Because he will have the heathens do something that they thought was going to be for evil, and it'll turn out for good. So he went on there and tried to basically compare or equate us to you guys will see it, trying to equate us to some type of Nazi. They're talking about the denazifying of Europe, how Vladimir Putin said he was trying to denazify Europe. Now, Tucker Carlson is going to say, he just didn't understand why Putin would say that or how Putin could come to that conclusion. And in the midst of that conversation, he brings up the Israelites. You guys think that's by coincidence, or is he trying to demonize us and vilify us? Now, it was like a double entendre. I'm not going to lie. Tucker Carlson gave a double entendre. He said that just like how he couldn't agree or understand how Putin was saying that is so far-fetched that Europe needs to be denazified, he was saying that it's so far-fetched that black people are Israelites. But you can see how it's a double entendre. He's trying to compare us in the topic of conversation about Nazism, and then also say, oh, I didn't understand him there, just like I didn't understand when somebody was talking to me about the Israelites, the true Israelites, right? So I want you guys to keep that in mind as we talk about this. I'm going to say fair use. This is going to be our thoughts and comments on this content. Fair use is going to be our thoughts and comments on this content. Y'all hit that like button. Y'all hit that like button. Like the video. Thumb up the video. And remember, when they hate, donate. All right. Uh, so yeah, the jig is up. We are definitely in the end times, of course. We're definitely in the end times where we're getting this type of publicity, this type of exposure, this type of awareness. So yes, we are definitely in the end times. All we have to look forward to now is the mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip. So yes, like the video, thumb up the video, share the video, and let's get into it. I want you guys to let me know if it is if it's pristine, if the quality of this video is pristine. All right. Let me know. I'm getting a little bit of. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like that. It's a little bit blurry. I can see it on my end. We have a little bit of a. So what I'll do is I'll do this. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. It's a little blurry. Let's see if this works. You can still see how red the devil is. Crosby, the water for the super chat donation, and I see you're already a member of the channel, so all praises for that. Let me see if we can do it this way. Okay, so we're gonna have to do it like this for some reason because I'm not hardwired. I'm not hardwired, so we're gonna do it like this. That way, we're crystal clear. That way, we're crystal clear. All right. We're gonna talk about it now. For you Israelites who have a short attention span, I'm gonna need y'all to focus. I'm gonna need y'all to focus. All right. All right. This should be good enough. Now, is it pristine now? Is it pristine now?
What? How, that is not good. I'm ashamed of it. What do you think of Putin saying that justification for continuing the war is denazification? I thought it was one of the dumbest things I'd ever heard.
Now, y'all remember Tucker Carlson got fired, right? Today, I'm going to need y'all to walk with me. Y'all remember he got fired, and then he immediately went to do an interview with Vladimir Putin. Y'all remember that? Now, I know a lot of y'all who are not into current events, world events, geopolitics, economics, so on and so forth. Y'all are not in the loop. Y'all don't have the tea. But the Bible says, watch and pray and measure the time diligently. We're supposed to know what's going on in the world and marry it with the Bible. Y'all remember that? Okay, all praises. So everybody from America was mad at him, accusing him of treason, espionage, things of that sort, selling out, right? Now, Lex Friedman asked him, what do you think about Putin saying, the justification for invading Ukraine is the denazification of Europe? Now, Tucker Carlson, with all of the information he has, see, when you're entrenched and engulfed in white supremacy, you have blinders on that you can't see nothing else. When you're so conformed to the Western world and what the giants of the media, the narrative that they shape, you don't have any outside perception or perspective of what's going on outside of the media, what the media outlets push in America. How do you not know that that's going on in Europe? Now, Lex Friedman does say, well, yeah, there is a small community of Nazi or neo-Nazis in Ukraine, but it's not a big population. But here it is, Tucker Carlson, who's supposed to be this investigative journalist, he acts like he doesn't even know that there couldn't even be a small band of rebels out there who are Nazis. How do you not know that? Let's continue. I just thought it was the stupidest thing. But notice, this whole segment right here is all about the denazification of Europe. And then somehow, we know how, they're trying to set us up to be the fall guys for everything. Somehow, in this 14, 15 million view interview, we, the Israelites, the true Israelites, this is from 2 months ago, we get brought up in the middle of a discussion about the denazification of Europe. Are you kidding me? See, y'all got to read between the lines, and a lot of y'all are going to be led like sheep to the slaughter because they're going to demonize us and vilify us. I love to say it, and I'm going to keep saying it so that we could be the fall guys. even though we don't have the resources, power, or economics to invade a country or create some ideology or exploit somebody for their natural minerals and resources. We don't have that capability.
I understand what it meant. Denazification? It literally means what it sounds like.
It literally means what it sounds like. Either you're playing dumb or you're dumb. And Cut Tucker, you sat down there with Kanye. No, that was Pierce Morgan. But Lex Friedman sat with Kanye about the Israelites. See, Lex Friedman, I believe he's Jewish. Lex Friedman is Jewish. He got Kanye on here, and Kanye was cooking him, but he was trying to say, maybe you guys could be without the disqualification of us. No, we're not the Israelites who are going to sit up here and lie to you guys and say, we can both be Jews. We're not going to lie and say that. That's those pussy Israelites. Excuse my language. That's those friendly brews. It's not like Debo and Craig. This is both of our bike. It's like both ours. No. It's either one or the other. And if it's you guys, then the Bible's fake and there's not a God at all. And if we are, the Bible is real and there is a God. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I hate that whole conversation because it's not real. It's just ad hominem. It's a way of associating someone with an evil regime that doesn't exist anymore. But in point of fact, Nazism, whatever it was, is inseparable from the German nation. It was a nationalist movement in Germany. There were no other Nazis.
Oh, my goodness. Now, see, this is why the Bible says, I have chosen the poor of this world to confound the wise of the world. This guy just acted like the Germans had a monopoly on Nazism. And it was solely geographically in Germany. Now, again, Lex Friedman comes and cleans them up and says, no, there is a small community of those in Ukraine. The devil is a liar. The devil is a... Sister Teresa at the water for the super chat donation. Greatly appreciate you for supporting the channel.
There's no book of Nazism. Like, I want to be a Nazi. What is it? What does it mean to be a Nazi? There's no idea. There's no Mein Kampf.
They're here in America. Let's talk about that. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. Nazis in America. This guy, Nazism in the Americas. Come on, bro. What is you talking about? Nazism in the Americas has existed since the 1930s. Come on, man. Yohanan, you have to water for gifting other people in the chat to become members. Y'all go check out that exclusive content. All praises. We got to get some more content for the members of the channel, right? So let me go back here.
There's no Mein Kampf is not Das Kapital, right? Mein Kampf is like, to the extent I understand it, it's like he's pissed about the Treaty of Versailles. Whatever. I'm very anti-Nazi. I'm merely saying there.
Now we know. I know Vladimir Putin did say that was his justification for invading Ukraine, but remember, y'all, the real reason. The real reason is very simple. Decades ago, NATO made a commitment. I don't know if it was a treaty or a vow or a promise that they would not further their agenda to the east. And so when NATO tried to get Ukraine to be an inductee and to join NATO, that's when the war kicked off. Now, he can say that's when it kicked off for sure, because NATO was in the wrong. NATO tried to backdoor Vladimir so that they could have a closer position to Russia when the inevitable World War III happens. Let's not forget that. That was the biggest reason, and that's when it kicked off. Now he has other reasons as well.
It's a Nazi movement in 2024. It's a way of calling people evil. Okay, Putin doesn't like nationalist Ukrainians. Putin hates nationalism in general, which is interesting. But of course he does. He's got 80 whatever republics, and he's afraid of nationalist movements. He fought a war in Chechnya over this. So I understand it, but I have a different, I'm for national, I'm for American nationalism. So like I disagree with Putin on that. But calling them Nazis, it's like, I thought it was childish.
Well, I do believe that he believes it.
So that's so interesting. I agree with that. I was listening to this because in the United States, everyone's always calling everyone else a Nazi. You're a Nazi. Okay.
I don't hear that word in the United States being thrown around so frivolously and casually. So where are you at amongst other white people who are calling each other that? That got to be behind closed doors with you wicked elitists.
But I was listening to this and I was like, this is the dumbest sort of not.
Do you guys hear this? Please, I'm begging you guys to really, really, really see how they look at us. Because we're going to get brought up in the middle of this topic. And you hear how he's saying, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's going to say that same thing when it comes to the possibility of us being the Israelites, of us being the true Jews. Just keep that in mind. He's saying this is the dumbest thing. This is so far-fetched. This is the weirdest thing. You're going to hear him use these words. Then he's going to compare Putin saying that to somebody telling him that we're the Israelites. So just please keep that in mind. This is how your slave master, your oppressor, some of you guys want these people as your friends, and oh, they're your best friends and your baby's mothers and your baby's fathers. And this is their sentiments as a whole, collectively, when you try to tell them that we are the Israelites. Mick298, the Water King, greatly appreciate you. Let's continue.
But I was listening to this and I was like, this is the dumbest sort of not convincing line you could take. And I sat there and listened to him talk about Nazis for like 8 minutes. And I'm like, I think he believes this.
Yeah, and I actually, having had a bunch of conversations with people who are living in Russia, they also believe it. Now, there's technicalities here, which the word Nazi, World War II is deeply in the blood of a lot of Russians and Ukrainians.
I get
So
it.
you're using it as almost a political term.
Yes.
The way it's used in the United States also, like racism and all this kind of stuff. So you can really touch people if you use the Nazi.
I think that's totally right.
That is true. Now, and it's crazy to me how nobody's mentioning that Zelensky is Jewish. That's the least talked about thing this whole war. Even with Vladimir Putin making that statement about denazification, nobody's talking about how Zelensky is Jewish.
But it's also, to me, a really disgusting thing to do.
I agree.
Because, and also to clarify, there is neo-Nazi movements in Ukraine.
Oh, he just cut you, Tucker. You said that they weren't there. You try to act like they were only in Germany. Lex Friedman said there are some in Ukraine.
But just very small. You're saying that there's this distinction between Nazi and neo-Nazi. Sure. But it's a small percentage of the population, a tiny percentage that have no power in government. I have seen no data to show they have any influence on Zelensky.
I've seen no data. Okay, let's just type. I've seen no data to prove that the small Nazi community in Ukraine have any influence on Zelensky. Okay, let's just type it up and make a public document that we, the Nazis, are influencing Zelensky. What are you talking about? As if they do it openly rather than clandestinely. Just like here in America, these presidents are puppets. Man, There's only two things I can say about both of these guys. Either they're dumb or they're just playing the game.
And
or a little bit of both.
the Zelensky government at all. So really, when Putin says denazification, I think he means nationalist movements.
I think you're right, and I agree with everything you said. And I do think that the Second World War, occupies a place in Slavic society, Polish society, Central and Eastern Europe, that it does not occupy in the United States. And you can just look at the death totals, tens of millions versus less than 500,000. So it's like this eliminated a lot of the male population of these countries. So of course it's still resonant in those countries. I get it. I think I've watched the misuse of words, the weaponization of words for political reasons for so long that I just don't like, and though I do engage in it sometime, and I'm sorry, I don't like just dismissing people in a word. Oh, he's a Nazi, he's a liberal, or whatever. It's like, tell me what you mean. What don't you like about what they're doing or saying? And Nazi especially, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
What troubled me about that is because he said that that's the primary objective currently for the war. And that, because it's not grounded in reality, it makes it difficult to then negotiate peace. Because what does it mean to get rid of the Nazis in Ukraine? So he'll come to the table and say, well, okay, I will agree to do ceasefire once the Nazis are gone. Okay.
And really, like I said, we know the main reason why the war kicked off and why Vladimir Putin is doing what he's doing. Now, he's just sending you guys on a wild goose chase with this whole denazification of Europe. I mean, are there tyrannical rulers linked who have a hatred toward the West? Are there implants and are there implants from the Western world over there ruling, being used by the what's the word I'm looking for? Ventriloquist, excuse me. The ventriloquist of the West, or the ventriloquist of America? Are there puppets over there being used by the ventriloquist of America? Absolutely.
You list the Nazis.
I totally agree. Plus, can you negotiate with a Nazi?
Right, exactly.
I totally agree with you.
It was very strange, but maybe it was perhaps had to do with speaking to his own population, and also probably trying to avoid the use of the word NATO as a justification for the war.
Yes, that's all. Of course, I don't know, but I suspect you're right on both counts. But I would.
Hold on. Let me rewind that. I know why you guys are here. You want to hear him talk about us. It's coming up, but you got to get the full context. I want to hear what he just said, as if Vladimir is scared of NATO or something.
To the word NATO. It was very strange, but maybe it was perhaps had to do with speaking to his own population, and also probably trying to avoid the use of the word NATO as a justification for the war.
Yes, that's all. Of course, I don't know, but I suspect.
Well, yeah, they may have a point there. If he didn't use the word NATO, then he's moving and operating in a way in which he doesn't want the public to know. But like Tupac said with his beef, and you can tell them niggas you roll with whatever you want, but you and I know what's going on. Payback. I knew you niggas from way back. Witnessed me strapped with Max. Knew I wouldn't play that. Whoo-wee. That was cold. But, he doesn't have to. NATO knows why he's doing this. America knows why he's doing this, so he don't have to say it.
You're right on both counts, but I would say it points to something that I've thought more and more since I did that interview, which was like 2 weeks ago, I guess. I didn't think he was as a PR guy, not very good. Not good at telling his own story. The story of the current war in Ukraine is the eastward expansion of NATO and scaring the shit out of the Russians with NATO expansion, which is totally unnecessary, doesn't help the United States.
Hold on. Okay, so he did bring it up. There you go. Tell a little bit of truth.
He's not good at telling his own story. You know, the story of the current war in Ukraine is the eastward expansion of NATO and scaring the shit out of the Russians with NATO expansion, which is totally unnecessary, doesn't help the United States. NATO itself doesn't help the United States. And so I'm not pro-Russian for saying that. I'm pro-American for saying that. And I think that's a really compelling story because it's true.
That might be the first thing that Tucker said that was true this whole time. The reason he's doing it is for the NATO's expansion to the east. And the Russians are scared. And it's not that they're scared, it's that they're not dumb and they're not going to let you get the drop on them.
He did not tell that story. He told some other story that I didn't fully understand. Again, I'm not Russian. He's speaking to multiple audiences around the world. I'm not sure what he hoped to achieve by that interview. I will never know. But I did think that, like, this guy is not good at telling his story. And I also think, honestly, on the basis of a lot, I mean, I know this, very isolated during COVID, very. We keep hearing that he's dying of this or that disease. He's got ALS. I mean, I don't.
Remember when people were saying that Vladimir Putin was dying? Now, do you think the East believe that madness? Absolutely not. He's alive and kicking. He's alive and kicking. We got it popping like fried chicken. See, a lot of times the Americans, they try to act like Kim Jong-un is a bad person. Vladimir Putin is a bad person. Gaddafi's a bad person. They try to act like all these people who don't want to conform to the West and accept their Federal Reserve notes and the central banking systems and fiat currencies, and they don't want a McDonald's over there, and democracy rather, false democracy. They paint these guys out to be tyrannical villains. Oh, they're harming their people, they're killing their own people. But then you talk to the people that are over there and they say, no, that person is like our savior and hero. Right? One second. Okay, Shalakia, y'all. Let's continue.
No, I'm not his doctor. There's a ton of lying about it. I know that. But one thing that's not a lie is that he was cloistered away during COVID. I know this. And only dealing with 2 or 3 people. And that makes you weird. It's so important to deal with a lot of people, to have your views challenged.
What? So if it's weird to be quarantined, why the hell didn't you come out and say nothing when they quarantined the whole world, especially America? You're gonna say it's weird. Being quarantined is weird. But America was quarantined the whole time. And the world was quarantined the whole time. You didn't think that was weird then?
You see this with leaders who stay in power too long. He's been in power 24 years, effectively. He's done it. There's been upsides, I think, for Russia, the Russian economy, Russian life expectancy, but there are definitely downsides. And one of them is you get weird and you get autocratic. This is why we have term limits. Very few kings don't get crazy in old age.
Yeah, and you said some of this also in your post-Kremlin discussion while you're in Moscow still, which was very impressive to me, that you can just openly criticize. This is great.
Well, I don't care.
I understand this. I just wish you did some more of that also with the supermarket video, and perhaps some more of that with Putin in front of you. But
Putin in front of me.
I understand.
No, basically, what Lex Friedman is saying is you went and started talking shit about Putin after the interview, and he's saying you should have stood on business right in front of his face. But you know what? You hold up. You marked out. Putin would have immediately Off with his head.
You're a good person.
I know you see it as virtue signaling.
Yeah, it is. Have you seen some of the interview he did with some NBC News child?
Yes, I understand.
Oh.
So I think you're just so annoyed by how bad journalists are that you just didn't want to be them.
Yeah, that's probably right, actually.
Some great conversations will involve some challenging, like you were confused about denazification.
Well, first of all, I accept your criticism and I accept it as true that in some way I'm probably pivoting against what I dislike. And I have such contempt for American journalists on the basis of so much knowledge that I probably was like, I don't want to be like that. Fair. That is a kind of defensiveness and dumb. So you're right. As for the Nazi thing, I was like,
okay, here we go. Here we go. Put them bombs in the chat. See what the world, what he thought was gonna make us look like dummies and idiots. The Most High is using to now bring awareness to who the real Israelites and Hebrews are. Put them bombs in the chat. Let me get some bombs in the chat because Tucker Carlson finna drop a bomb. He think he's demeaning us, right? But you know, people are gonna see that interview and really investigate what he's about to say here, right? So we're finally up to the point where in the middle of this topic about denazification, quote, Black Israelites get brought up. All right. So let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
you're right. As for the Nazi thing, I was like, I really felt like we were just speaking so far past each other that we would never like come to. It's like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And and especially when I decided or concluded that he really meant it, I was like, that's just too freaking weird to me. It's almost like, yeah, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like,
you hear it? So look, so you hear it? I told y'all, he's saying when Putin was saying that, you know, the denazification of Europe, it was dumb, it was stupid, it was weird, it was freakish, it was unlearned, it was preposterous, it was far-fetched, and all this stuff. So he's gonna say, he's gonna give an example.
I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the Black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, you know, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
So let's bring it back a little bit more.
Concluded that he really meant it. I was like, that's just too freaking weird to me. It's almost like, yeah, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the Black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, you know, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like,
Wait a second, hold on. See, now this is double talking here. So you were interviewing somebody, but it wasn't on camera. Tucker, what are you talking about? It wasn't on camera. What did you have, like an audio recorder? You don't do that. When have you ever seen a Tucker Carlson interview with a goddamn audio recorder? So he's already lying, for one. For two, why'd you delete the footage? This just showed you that you deleted the footage because you said it wasn't on camera. Now everybody want to know who was this individual. So now we got so many questions because you don't do audio interviews, Tucker, right? You deleted the footage or you have the footage hidden away. Who was the individual? Because we know you don't just interview random Black people that think they're Israelites. And if it was an Israelite leader, then we, the people, would have known about it already. because we would have recorded it as well or talked about it. Somebody said it was probably Kanye. It probably was Kanye. Because who else could it be? Unless it's a white person. No, did he say we are the Jews or did he say they are the Jews? Let me see. Was it a white person?
It's almost like, yeah, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like,
so it was an Israelite who he was, or at least somebody who believed that we are the Israelites. So it wasn't a white person. It was a so-called Negro man. It could have been Kanye. It could have been somebody else. It could have been Kendrick. It could have been Kendrick Lamar. It could have been Kanye. It could have been somebody bigger than that. Jeremiah. So we want to know who was it. Gaza, I see Gaza's in the chat. Gaza, who was it? We want to know who was it. Oh, Kyrie. It could have been Kyrie. It was the deacon. It was me. I just forgot. Somebody said Kodak Black. Nah, Gaza's right. It was me, y'all. I just didn't want to come out and tell y'all. It was me. You know, Tucker came through 4th and Pine. You know, he asked me, what was we doing out there? You know, but he deleted the footage because I called him Tucker the toe sucker, right? We started calling him Tucker the toe sucker, Tucker the toe sucker, Tucker the toe sucker, right? So he said he was going to delete the footage type shit. So yeah, it was me, y'all. Now I'm playing, but yeah, just like Donald Trump shouted me out that a couple weeks ago, right? But you know, this leaves us, because here's the thing. If it was Kanye or Kyrie or Kendrick, ain't that crazy? Kanye, Kodak, Kyrie, Kendrick, all Ks. Shout out to the 4Ks, right? Real 4K, not 1080, real 4K, right? If he interviewed any of the 4Ks, why would he then say, why would he not mention? He just acting like it was some regular person. I was interviewing a guy, right? Well, according to celebrity status or the world of celebridom, Kanye is not just a regular guy. Kyrie's not just a regular guy. Kendrick's not just a regular guy. And Kodak Black is not just a regular guy. These are all people who say that we are Israelites, right? So that just leaves us with so many questions. Who was it? Why did he delete the footage? And whoever it was being interviewed, why haven't they came out and said nothing about it? But one thing we do know for a fact, it wasn't an Israelite leader in our community, because when we do interviews, we bring our own cameras too. Or if we know the footage ain't gonna come out, we'll come out and talk about it. So it couldn't have been an Israelite leader. It had to be some of our brothers in the world still who are not fully converted or practicing this lifestyle, but now know their identity, ethnicity, and nationality. Oh, it could have been Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon too. Could have been Nick Cannon. That's a good. Y'all's guess is as good as mine, right? But he's saying though, still, whoever the individual was, Nick, Kodak, Kendrick, Kanye, whatever, he said that they were dumb for thinking that. Okay? So let's not get caught up in, yes, he's bringing it out. 14 million people heard this part. Let's pray that our people hear that and go research it. That's our prayer. But thanks for the awareness. Thanks for the exposure. But his whole point in bringing us up during this whole Nazi topic is, in my opinion, to vilify us and demonize us and try to equate us on that. Maybe he did it inadvertently, whatever. But also, what is apparent is that he's saying, as stupid as Putin sounded saying that, is as stupid and dumb as the nigga he was interviewing is for saying that we are the Jews. Let's not forget, he's saying we're just stupid orangutans. We're just apes. We're just dumb apes. Let's not forget that. He said Vladimir Putin made the stupidest statement that was so weird and dumb that the only thing he could equate it to is when a nigga said that we are the Israelites. Let's not forget that.
It's almost like, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone else, say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that. So.
Yeah, we'll never be anything more than an ex-slave. That's what he really wanted to say. I was like, what? You're just an ex-slave. How the hell are you an Israelite? You're nothing but a Hamite who's worthy of slavery. Is really what he's saying here, right? And of course, this is edited. This is not live. So Lex Friedman, he got to interview Kanye. That's why they put it on him when he said that. As soon as it said black Israelites, it went to Lex Friedman.
Jews. And I was like,
because he knows. And if we were to double back on that interview, Kanye was cooking him. And I believe, just like most Jewish people in authority, that they do believe some of us are, in fact, Israelites. So being that this is an edited video and it switches to another topic immediately, I'm surprised he left that in there. But he probably told him, yeah, some are, but that was left out of the recording. So
on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
Damn, that's because we could never. Somebody said it might have been Ice Cube. It could have been Ice Cube too. It said we could never convince him that we are the Israelites. We could never convince him that there is black Israelites. This is the face of white supremacy. Just like all the faces of authority. They are the what the world believes is the golden standard. God is white. Jesus is white. All the leaders in America are white. The chosen people are white. The best country in the world is white. And so if it ain't white, it ain't right. That's their ideology. See, our Bible talks about this. And this is why you got to put on the whole armor. Y'all ain't if y'all ain't got your 613 flawless not lawless, you better check out that website and go support the Deacon's line. Flawless not lawless 613. The whole armor, put it on, right? Now, in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1, it talks about peckerheads like this peckerhead, Tucker the toe sucker, right? and 5:1, and most white people think like this. This is why certain Israelites say, you know, Gentiles can be saved. All they got to do is serve us right now and acknowledge us. What white people are doing that? He just said that he could never come to terms on that. So all you Israelites trying to say, oh, you know, the other nations can be saved. They just have to acknowledge and serve us. It'll never happen. Show me one besides some fat white woman who you're hitting her shit just to get a PS5 and some Jordans in her tax return. Wisdom of Solomon 5:1 says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. Right? So this is what we're doing now. Boldly proclaiming the gospel, the facts and the truth that we are the Israelites. And those are imposters who are not registered on the roster and made no account of his labors. How did they make no account of our labors? By what? $5 trillion in free labor and have given us zero reparations. Verse 2, when they shall see it, when Tucker Carlson sees this, when he sees it, he's gonna be redder than that. He's gonna be lobster tail red. They shall be troubled with fear, and that's what's happening. Even if he's acting like we're not the Israelites and there's no evidence or merit towards it, he probably does know. You have to have a shred of evidence. You had to have heard it. You couldn't have just heard it from that one individual you interviewed. You know who Kanye is. You know who Kyrie is. They shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed. He's going to be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. You hear how he said, oh, never come to terms. That's just so far-fetched. What God said is going to be far beyond all that you looked for. You thought he was going to come and start saving white people who don't even need to be saved. What the hell they need to be saved from? He's coming to save those who need to be saved from the hands of their enemies. Is the exact definition of salvation, the biblical definition of salvation. So, it's going to be so strange when the Lord is taking up the poor of the world, the minorities, the ones you called ex-slaves, the so-called Black Latinos and Native Americans. Oh, he's going to be amazed, Tucker. Right? Verse 3. T says haplogroup E is Canaan, and T, you're in here teaching a false science. Okay, we go by the Bible, T. All right, we don't go by DNA. We go by the Bible. How did God tell you to identify the Israelites? By the signs, by the curses, by the prophecies. That Tucker spoke with Elder Tahar. Oh, okay. That might have been possible. That might have been possible. I think I did hear something about that though. I think I did hear something about that. Let's check it out. He did. Tucker Carlson. Oh, it was Elder Tahar. Ah, okay. Elder. Let's see if this pops up. He did speak with Tahar. I forgot. But let me see. I'm gonna put Tucker Carlson Great Millstone. Okay, it may have been some time ago, but I think I do remember seeing that. I think I do remember seeing that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the elder apostle Tahar over there at Great Millstone. But it could have been some years ago, so it's probably buried and it probably didn't generate a lot of momentum due to the fact that their videos don't really go viral like that. GMS, I gotta tell y'all something. When y'all get a viral video, just give it to me. I'll upload it. That way you guys can get some exposure, man, and reach the masses, reach the elect. Don't you want to reach the elect? Right? So back in Wisdom of Solomon 5:3, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit. So that's the state we're in right now, repenting by way of teaching the laws, statutes, and commandments to our people. Um, Getting these type of interviews, willing to go on these shows and have dialogues, right? Okay, I think Hassad found a video. So let's take a look at this video. Let's see it. Let's see if this it is. All right. Let me share this to my. Oh yeah, this is it. Let me share this to. Let me share this to my thing here. Okay. So let's pull this up and take a look at it. Yeah, this is from a while back too. All right, we got the source. I believe we do have the source here. I believe we have the source. When y'all was saying Apostle Tahar, I thought y'all was joking, but I did see this a while ago. So let me all right, we got the source. So let's check it out. Boy, this is moving so slow. Lord help us. It's a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Come on, man. Okay, here's the video right here where they speak about how they ran into Tucker Carlson. I don't know if they have it on camera, but I think this is they're at least giving a testimony about it. This is just absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Look at this. Why they got these pictures of him like that? So it's called Tucker Carlson Pays GMS a Visit.
Besides gonna making a way for the elect not to take it. You're going to protect the elect. Because it's all about the elect. We've been telling you, brothers, since we came on YouTube, it's all about the elect. I know you're somewhere, right?
Oh, this is it. This is it right here. Oh, this is it. This is it right here. Exactly. So it was an interview, and it is on camera, but he lied about that. It's not your camera, it's their camera. So this is it. This is exactly it. Now, this video should have gone viral. I mean, absolutely viral, right? Either way, we found the source of what he's talking about. And so y'all talk so much shit about the camps, but the camps are the ones who generate these millions of views and are out there being able to even come across people like Tucker Carlson, right? Now, what happens here? Let's take a look. He's like, what is this?
What is it? You know about us. Are you Jew? Are you a Jewish? Are you Jewish? What are you? Italian? Christian. Oh, really? What does the word Christian mean? Okay, good. He said someone who follows Christ. You're talking about the Christ in the Bible? Okay, what color is that Christ? No idea. So you don't read the Bible?
Yeah, I've read the whole thing actually.
You read the whole Bible?
Yes, I did.
So then you would know the color Christ.
I don't remember that big connection. I mean, but
Give me that. Since he listened, we're going to refresh his memory. Since he read the whole Bible.
This is the old Elder Tahar. We love the old Elder Tahar. You know, he's the older Elder Tahar, man. He was a lion out there. You know, now the brother's up in age, you know. But he was a lion out there, man. This is what we came in under. Elder Tahar used to be out there serving it.
Chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with the garment down to the foot.
That's John the Revelator seeing a vision of the Lord coming down from heaven.
Clothed with the garment down to the foot, and girded about the head with golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like a fine brass, as if they burned in the furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters.
Now go back to his ears.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
What does it mean by his head and his hair were white like wool? What do you think? Okay, that's that. Well, he had gray hair.
right. Yeah.
You have young people. There's this girl I know who grew up with. At the age of like 23, she got a full head of gray hair,
Yeah,
white
I've seen
hair.
that. It's weird.
And that's from peroxide.
Ministry is
Nitrogen peroxide coming through your system, like you. That's from peroxide. Okay? That's within your system. So it said he had white hair, but what else did it say?
Like wool.
Like wool. So it's talking about the texture of his hair. Who has woolly hair? You don't know who has woolly hair? Come on. Does this hair look? Oh, wait on. This is the perfect example. Does this hair look woolly to you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what would you say when you read that all over again? Read it again.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Meaning his head and his hairs, the hairs on his face, because they wore beards, because that was pursuant to the law, and the hair on the top of his head was also white and woolly. What people do you know on the planet Earth have woolly hair?
Africans.
Okay, good. So you're saying that the blacks in this country, the so-called Negroes, are you saying that they're Africans?
Descent. No, they're Americans.
But are you saying that the so-called the Negroes, the African Americans,
Right.
all right? Are you saying that they descend from Africa?
Yes.
Okay, now listen. Egypt again. This is Moses speaking to the children of Israel in the wilderness. And basically, when when you read the whole chapter, the first 15 verses goes into the blessing that Israel will receive. All right? From the 16th verse to the end, it talks about the curses that they will receive. So we're reading about the curses. This is one of the main curses that was going to befall children of Israel. There was another way.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. No man shall buy you.
Now, the children of Israel were born as a nation in Egypt. There's no record of the Israelites or the children of Israel, us, going back into Egypt.
Now, this might have been 10 years ago where the elder apostle ran into Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson just mentioned that on the video we're covering 2 months ago with 14 million views. So apparently this encounter and this conversation has stuck with Tucker Carlson, haunting him in his dreams, giving him nightmares that we are in fact the true people of God. Thank God for camps.
So it's got to be talking about another Egypt. Give me Revelation 11. Revelation 11 and 8.
Revelation 11 and 8. And their bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Because this is referring to America. And when you go precept upon precept, because America is mentioned in the Bible several times. It's known as Babylon the Great or the daughter of Babylon. It's also known as Assyria, spiritual Assyria, spiritual Babylon. It's also known as Egypt and Sodom. When you look up the word Sodom, what comes to your mind? When you think of the word Sodom,
Chelsea.
okay, you should have said Christmas Street. You should have said Christmas Street. Okay, but anyway, you think of so-called homosexuals, lesbians, transvestites. So read that again.
And their bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
America's not called Sodom or Egypt. It says it's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. The word Sodom, like I said, the first thing that came to his mind was Chelsea. All right? On the dollar bill, the official language of the United States is what, English, right?
It's not the official, but it's practical.
Everything's written in English.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
When you want to register a car, they give you an application in English,
Yes.
not in Swahili or Russian. All right. This is the so-called American dollar bill. It's nothing but a Federal Reserve note. If you look, I don't know how big your eyes are.
Yeah, come here.
What does it say? I knew it. You wept this.
Tell him to get the martial law sign up. It has that on it.
What does law mean?
Look at the picture. You see the picture of Elvis?
It means right?
Like a
Ordo means order in the Latin.
Yeah.
This order means scepter.
Elvis is another one. Oh, the chip. The chip sign.
In the Eagles,
The chip.
Yes.
The chip sign has it. Yeah, the chip, yeah, that has it. Right there.
good. What does he put out of many one? This guy, the so-called great president, the father of our country. I'm talking about Obama. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Obama. He's our new father, right?
Right.
He's a black man. When he passed, I guess they call it overtime. Don't ask, don't tell. When you look at speech,
So he mentioned Obama. So this had to be during Obama's term here. So it could be more than 10 years ago. And this is etched, seared into the brain of Tucker Carlson, who's still bringing it out 2 months ago.
he said, well, we in the United States, but we don't ask, don't tell. He said, we are a nation out of many one. And what he said in English was, the pluribus unum.
Yes.
Why would he say that? in Latin? Why is everything written in Latin? If the official language of the United States of America is English. Because this is the Roman Empire all over again. This is the Roman Empire coming back. I'll use the word that's reincarnated.
Is that good or bad?
Well, it's good for us.
Let's see if we can find part 2. Let's see if we can find part 2 here. Oh, here we go. We got part 2. All right, we got part 2. It's going to get bad for Tucker. It's going to get bad for Tucker. Now we have found the source. You see that investigative work? Shout out to Hassad. How do you like that, Hassad?
It's bad for you. Why? Because you're going into slavery. Now I'm cutting to the chase.
So he just told Tucker Carlson he's going into slavery. That's right. He told that devil he's going into slavery. And this is deep. I should have titled this video a whole nother thing. The Israelites who taught Tucker Carlson. Right? Now, he said, I'm cutting to the chase. You're going into slavery. Period. You're going into slavery. So, of course, when he's talking about Vladimir Putin, 10 years later, this is in his mind. The Israelites told me I'm going into slavery, that they're the real Israelites. But what he doesn't understand is that those white Israelis over there, they believe this too. They just don't say it. They literally believe when the Messiah comes, they get like 800 slaves per each Israeli.
It's bad for you. Why? Because you're going into slavery. Now I'm cutting to the chase.
Why am I going?
Because you're an Edomite. What's your nationality?
At some point,
That's not a nationality. What's your national origin?
no idea.
I was okay, what was your father? Was he Irish? Okay, so I guess he may be Irish, right?
He's not Irish. He's not Irish.
Is he Jewish? Well, you better hope that you're Israelite. But anyway, give me Isaiah 14.
Okay, but why am I going into slavery?
If you're a so-called white man, if your mind goes back to the Edomites, do you know anything about Edom or Esau?
Yeah.
So what do you know about Edom or Esau?
Well, Esau. Brother Esau? Jacob's brother?
Jacob's brother.
Yeah.
Okay, who are the descendants? Who are the descendants?
He's such a liar. I'm going to tell you guys why he's a liar. Because on this interview, he's acting like he didn't understand anything that the Israelite was saying, right? Let's go back here, y'all. Now it's starting to make all the sense in the world. Thank the Most High. You guys see how he put the puzzle pieces to the puzzle together like that?
Dumb. So you're right. As for the Nazi thing, I was like, I really felt like we were just speaking so far past each other that we would never like come to. I was like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And and especially when I decided or concluded that he really meant it, I was like, that's just too freaking weird to me. It's almost like, yeah, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone and they'll say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
But so he said this 2 months ago, but it's still in his head for possibly 10 years from this. This is the encounter he's talking about. And you seem to not it seems to be understandable here, Tucker. You're lying, telling lies to the people.
Jacob.
I think the Jews and then the Arabs was the descendants of Esau.
Are you talking about the white Jews?
There you go. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, we're the descendants of Jacob. Jacob was a black man. Abraham was black. All right? Isaac, his son, was black.
Right.
Rebecca was black. So if they were all black, what color did Jacob come out? He would come out as a black man.
Right.
Now his brother Esau didn't come out as a black man. He came out as, I'll use this term, an albino. You see a black person that looks like a white person, they call him an albino. But guess what? White people are albinos too. You're an albino, okay?
You're depressing me.
Well, you gotta get ready, man. If you are Edomite,
What is this gonna happen?
Very soon. It's happening now, as we talk. Go ahead.
Isaiah 14:1.
Tucker's an asshole. He gonna say, well, when is it gonna happen? Basically, when are you guys gonna take me into slavery?
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land.
Because the first thing that you mentioned when I asked you your nationality, your religion, you said Christian.
Right.
And I said, what does the word Christian mean? You said follow Christ. But we're here to the book of Acts 11:26. I'm going to show you a true Christian.
Acts chapter 11, verse 26. And when he had found them, he brought them into Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people.
These are the apostles.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
So the only Christians were the true followers of Christ. Go from there to John, St. John 4:19.
John chapter 4, verse 19. The woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain.
This is a woman of Samaria. Go ahead.
Our fathers,
Which thought she was a Jew, but the Lord, a transplanted Jew. Go ahead.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain. And ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Jesus said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
So, in him making that statement, for salvation is of the Jews, he excluded her. Why? Because she was not a real Jew. Go ahead.
But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth.
Go ahead.
For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
True worship.
God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Go ahead.
The woman said unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things. Jesus said unto her, I that speak unto thee am he.
And he said he admitted that he was the Messiah. Go ahead.
And upon this came his disciples, and marveled that he talked with the woman. Yet no man said, What seekest thou? Or why talkest thou with them? The woman then left her water pot and went away into the city, and said to the men, Come, see a man was told me all things that ever I did. Is not this the Christ? Then they were out of the city and came unto him. In the meanwhile his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat, that ye know not
Go
of.
back to the 19th verse. All right. Go back to the point, because our salvation is of the Jews.
Right. John chapter 4, verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what.
Ye worship, ye know not what. This is what the Christ said, the black Christ said to this, she would probably be Ethiopian woman, okay? Because you have a group of Colossian Jews over there. Do you know what the word Colossian means? It means false. I believe it's Latin, okay? Now what happened was, going back maybe 20 years ago, we, the real Jews, started waking up. So I believe to counteract that, the so-called Jews in Israel said, let's allow these Ethiopians to come to Israel and say, here are the black Jews. But they're not the black Jews.
Let me ask you two questions.
Go ahead.
One, what's in your group?
We're Israelites. Israelites. Yep.
Second, what denomination did you grow up in?
Not just one denomination. Because my parents went from one church to this, to that. So they jumped all over the place.
Like Protestant denominations? Christian denominations?
Protestant, Baptist, Methodist, Jehovah Witnesses. You was raised as a Jehovah Witness. Jehovah Witnesses, that's what we call it. But we found out through studying the scriptures that we are the Israelites. We are the lost. Give me Matthew's 10:5-6.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not, but go rather.
Oh, read again. Read it slow.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the
That's called
Gentiles.
the Great Commission, right?
Yes.
He sent out the 12. And this is what he told the 12 to do. Go ahead.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I thought we were supposed to save Gentiles. This is what the Lord said. This is what the Christ said. Go ahead.
And into any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not.
Now, he just encountered, we read about in St. John, the 4th chapter. He had that conversation with that Ethiopian woman, which was a Samaritan. That's why he said, don't go among the Samaritans, because they were Gentiles claiming to be Jews. Don't go to them either. Go ahead.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Go ahead.
And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
So all the other nations are excluded.
That's right.
Including yourself if you're an Edomite. Jump down to the 18th verse.
Verse 18, and ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles.
For testimony against them and the Gentiles.
So if you're an Edomite, there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can go to slavery. That's the only thing you can do.
That's only right, man.
We were enslaved under you.
We didn't have a choice.
Well, provided that you're an Edomite. If you're an Edomite, then you're going into slavery.
That's it.
If for some
So it's
reason,
not even worth worrying about your going.
if you're an Edomite, you're going into slavery. That's it.
That's it.
Period. So the only thing you can do is hope that you're an Israelite.
Here's something. Well, thanks,
Okay.
man. I appreciate
All right.
it.
Nice meeting you, bro. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
All right. What's an Edomite?
An Edomite is a so-called white man. But that doesn't mean that this guy right here, I forget his name, but this guy, he'll be talking about his money.
So, excuse me. He said he'll be talking about us Monday, but now we got the source of, you know,
pool their resources in order to bring pressures to bear against particularly intractable companies who have been previously non-responsive.
Slovakia. He said he'll be talking about us Monday. Now, I don't know if he did follow up and talk about that on Monday, but they're afraid, y'all. They're afraid and they're scared, and it came back full circle. It came back full circle of the source he was talking about. It came back full circle.
Offensiveness and dumb. So you're right. As for the Nazi thing, I was like, I really felt like we were just speaking so far past each other that we would never like come to. It's like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And and especially when I decided or concluded that he really meant it, I was like, that's just too freaking weird to me. It's almost like, yeah, I can think of many other examples where you're interviewing someone and they'll say something that's like, I was interviewing a guy one time and he started talking about the black Israelites and we're the real Jews. And I was like, and it wasn't on camera, but I was like, it was so far out to me that I was.
Now, it is a culture shock, even for us, when we walk by and somebody say, you're not African, you're not black, that's a color. You're a Jew. That's a culture shock for everybody. It does sound way too far-fetched, beyond what we believe, like the Bible says. Or if we say you're an Edomite, you're not a Caucasian, you're not white. You're not white. You're not the color white. You're an Edomite. They're like, what? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What is an Edomite? So the whole world has lost their identity, and we, the Israelites, have been set up to give the world back their biblical identities. Now, my bad, not lost per se, because a lot of these nations know who they are biblically. Like the Arabs will say, we're Ishmael. And some of the East Indians or Persians, they know they're Elam. Right? Some of the so-called African people know they're Hamites. Right? Like the Ethiopians, they know they're from Cush. So, and then some of the nations have hid their identity because they did not want the world to know who they were biblically. because then that will let you know what they have coming to them and also their history. So we, the Israelites, have been set up to, you know, restore the world back in its order. The Bible says when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. We are the righteous, but when the wicked bearers rule, the people mourn, right? That's just facts. Now, he said he's a Christian. I'm glad he said that, because now we can work with the whole Bible now. He said he was a Christian. Let's go back here, just in case I got to pull it up. He did say he was a Christian on part 1. So he did say he was a Christian. Now we have the whole Bible to work with now. Excuse me. So in Luke 21 and 24, it says, and they, the Israelites, shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. They will be captive in all. Last time I checked, nations don't want to let their slaves go. And if they do, civil war happens or some type of major event happens. We can't see that with them. We cannot see that with them. And Jerusalem, but we see us. We got led captive into all nations when starting at Jerusalem, and then we migrated, and then some of the Hamites and Arabs had us in captivity and were able to sell us, or at least subjugate it, and then were able to sell us to the Caucasian for the transatlantic slave trade, or when they came over in 1492, and then we were led into all nations again as captive. The Latino man, the Native American man, and the so-called Negro man that was in West Africa. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So Israel will be occupied by Gentiles until Gentile rulership is no longer on the planet. So now Tucker Carlson and others have to really come to grips and say, maybe we need to be like the Jewish community and get rid of the New Testament, because it says stuff like Gentiles would occupy Israel until the Messiah comes back. They have to deal with that. So that means who's over there occupying the land of Israel? Well, according to the words of the Messiah, Gentiles. But even if they wanted to get rid of the New Testament because of that, we have Micah chapter 5 and verse 3 in the Old Testament, in the prophets. I'm going to read this in the NLT. The people of Israel will be abandoned to their enemies until the woman in labor gives birth. This is literally saying that the Israelites will be in the hands of their enemies until the Messiah comes and delivers them the kingdom, not in their own land chilling with an iron dome and $5 billion in aid. Then at last his fellow countrymen will return from exile to their own land. So we will be in exile until the end of time, not in our land chilling. I'm going to read Leviticus 26 and 32 also in the NLT. It says, yes, I myself will devastate your land, and your enemies who come to occupy it will be appalled at what they see. Leviticus 26 is the same as Deuteronomy 28, the curses, which will be on the Israelites until the end of time, according to Deuteronomy 30. So that land will be occupied by our enemies, Gentiles, until these curses are lifted, and that's when the Messiah comes to liberate the Israelites, right? So he has to deal with this. He has to deal with the whole Bible, since he says, oh, I'm a Christian. He has to deal with Revelation 2 and 9. What it says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty. The Israelites will be enduring all these three categories. But thou art rich, will be broke, but rich in spirit. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Tucker Carlson got to deal with that. I brought this out a couple weeks ago, probably even last week. Jeremiah 16 and 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth. These same people, him and Lex.
Like, we'll never kind of understand common terms on that.
So you mentioned there's a bunch of...
They're going to come from the ends of the earth. And they're going to say, surely our fathers have inherited lies and vanity and things wherein there is no profit. Right? And excuse me, y'all. Woo! I have to have my tea in a second. But we're powering through the Spirit of God. Now, I just typed in black in the Bible, in the King James Bible search, right? Because he's just so appalled at the thought of a so-called black Israelite. And we know it's not literal black, but a darker skinned people, right? So when you see this word search here and you see my skin is black, then you see Songs of Solomon, the sister saying, I am black and beautiful. And most Jewish scholars will say that's a representation for all of Israel. Again, we know it's not black like my shirt, but melanated people, not Caucasian. We see Lamentations 5 and 10. Our skin was black, like the inside of an oven. And, you know, we could deal with physical description. We can see how we made it with Hamites, which Christians will say are African. We can see it talks about our texture. We can see archaeology. So we don't really harp on that. What's most important is, you know, prophecy, history, but we definitely have the archaeology and biblical descriptions of our people. We even see them being called nigga, as we always go to the word nigger, which is a Latin word. It started out with one G, and then through morphology, it acquired another G. But anybody can look that up. That's a Latin word. It literally means black. It literally means Negro. So this is why they're scared, because we are waking up to who we are as a people, and the elites are in fear. The elites are in fear, and they're going to remain in fear until they go into captivity, until they have to face the plagues, until they have to reap what they sowed, right? Excuse me. So we found the source live on air. Tucker Carlson talks black Israelites. We seen which Israelite he was talking to. We seen which camp he was talking to. Shout out to them brothers at GMS, even though there's some haters sometimes, but you got to love your haters, all right? And pray for your haters. But yeah, y'all, that's all I got for today. Tune in about a half an hour. Sakari main channel, Chief Priest Alazar, Gorilla Hebrew, and Assad, they about to go into some major prophecies, right, dealing with Armageddon. All right, let's not forget about that. All of these distractions, World War III still is at hand. It's not a regional conflict, it's a world war conflict. It's Russia against Ukraine. It's Israel versus Palestine. It's China versus Taiwan. And this is going to bring all the key players into the situation. So with that, I'm going to say thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all were edified. Hit the like button and share it on your way out. And we're going to end this by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. We do so by Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Till next time, Shalom.